now by the legal expert, Advocate Romeo Nthambeleni, and the political analyst, Professor of Politics at Northwest University, Professor Barry Hanyane. Gentlemen, good evening to you, and thank you very much indeed for your time. Romeo, if I may just start with you, as I understand it, this is about the Ethics Code. Now, as I understand it, the Executive Code of Ethics has generally applied to what people have done. Does it apply to what a president or a member of the executive has actually said? In this case, what he said, what he's accused of saying, is that the image of the ANC is more important than the country. Does it apply to what a member of the executive says, or only what they do?
Yeah, it's a very good question that you are asking, Steve. And it's not just an issue of semantics about what you are actually saying. What is important is who is actually saying it. And at this juncture, we are finding that is the president that is saying it, and the context of what was being said relate to things that are done in an official capacity as the head of state. And let's not forget that the president is a constitutional being, and he has taken the oath of office to respect and uphold the laws of the Republic of South Africa. So in this context, it might actually apply on what someone says as opposed to what someone does or is doing. Thank you so much, Steve.
Romeo, would this be the first time it's actually applied to what someone has said rather than what someone has done? I mean, I need to scratch my head a little bit more to find a case where this is applied to what someone has said rather than what they've done.
Yeah, it's unprecedented, Steve, and it has not happened in the past. And this is going to be the first time where you deal with the action of what the person has said instead of what they have done. So basically, as we are saying now, in terms of the Constitution and what the Constitution requires from the president, we are going to find ourselves having to answer what was actually said as opposed to what was being done. But the issue is the context and how the whole process is going to actually unfold going forward.
Professor Hanyane, this is going to go in lots of different directions. We're all aware of the history of, well, there's plenty of legal history, there's plenty of court cases we can go and read if we want, between the public protector and President Cyril Ramphosa. The president's allies, his supporters, are going to say this is just a continuation of those battles. Yeah. Is it as simple as that?
Yeah. Stephen, good afternoon. Good afternoon to your viewers. Good afternoon to my panelists there. Look, it very well will tie up with the loose ends, such as, if you remember, the case of the sealed statements. So this could very well add to that broader narrative that says the president may have violated certain constitutional regulations, in this case, the Executive Ethics Code. But what worries me the most is that a complaint without much substance and gist doesn't help anybody in terms of making sure that we establish the amount of transgression in this instance, and of course, we'll then be able to measure the amount of political damage that this is likely to bring to the integrity of the office of the presidency. At a time when we are facing elections within the party, could this be another chapter that reflects intra-party skirmishes, and of course state resources and space is used to vent such? We'll most definitely have to look at that one very carefully and separate issues of intra-party versus issues of formal office engagement.
I mean, Professor Hanyane, I mean, again, the president's allies will say that Mervyn Dirks, the suspended ANC MP who's brought this, is, a well-known sort of supporter of the RET faction. I realize we use that phrase all the time. It can actually mean different things. Yeah. So that's a political comment. It may not actually mean anything. The complaint stands.
Well, it has been taken further, isn't it? And at his own behest, to say, let SCOPA get involved. This may very well be an intra-party issue. And then the very same party, from a parliamentary caucus position, a sanction is issued. The ANC chief whip, Madam Majodina, says you are being suspended for breach of party ethics in turn. Could this be a spat within the party to protect the president? Or could it be that from both ends, indeed, there is the observation to honor ethical guidelines. I think lines are blurred here, and they may continue to do so on the basis of what permutations actually come out in the coming few days. You have 10 days for SCOPA, you have 30 days for the Office of the Public Protector to at least give us an indication of where the wind is likely to blow.
Romeo Nthambeleni, we can talk about the politics all we like. The fact is, I imagine for the law, for the way that this complaint is dealt with, technically at least, that doesn't matter who brought it. The complaint is now there. The public protector's agreed to investigate it. She now has a duty to continue with that investigation. Doesn't matter where in the ANC or where without the ANC Mervyn Dirks comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're correct. I would like to agree with what Prof is actually saying now, that I think the horse has bolted now. And whether it's political or non-political, it has to be dealt with. And the issue of pertaining to summons are a last resort. And then the correct process is to allow the president to give an answer in his own writing, so that that can be taken into SCOPA, and then they look at it and decide how to actually investigate it further. And then that way we'll be able to see what is going to come out of it, because summons are a last resort when you have failed actually to bring a person to the table to come and see. So if we get more information relating to these accusations and substance to it, then legally we can be able to deal with it. And as Prof is actually saying, a statement that is supposed to be even tested in any forum in court that has been recorded, whether the question will be, was it recorded with the knowledge of the person that has been recorded, or was recorded without? And you deal with issues relating to evidence and inadmissibility thereof. So it's not going to just end there, as simple as that, because in law, evidence must be tested, and that is the main issue that will remain.
I hadn't even thought of that. Under the law, of course, you must be correct. You have to know that you're being recorded. And there were predictions that the moment NEC meetings, because I'm presuming that's where this happened, went virtual, this was going to happen. Professor Hanyane, we can argue all about the law, but isn't this about the credibility of President Ramaphosa? Let me put it in what I think is the tightest terms that I can, which is that President Ramaphosa, to my memory, has said twice in public that the nation, the state, South Africa, is more important than the governing party, the African National Congress. In this recording, unless it's delegitimized, unless it's found to have been doctored in some way, in this recording, he says nothing is more important to him than the image of the ANC. Sounds a lot like what once President Jacob Zuma said at an ANC conference in KwaZulu-Natal. This must surely damage the credibility of Ramaphosa.
Not really, Stephen. You see, once again, Advocate Romeo is correct. The context plays an important role. It's easy to take one particular recording and suggest that it only applies to a particular context, and without referencing it to what actually happened, where did this happen, what were the circumstances under which such recording was taking place. The political fallout here could be that the president is under siege. But until such time that facts and not opinions are given space to express and give us direction, we are likely to see where the whole issue is going towards. And let's not forget, it was the very same president who was somewhat economical with the truth before the commission. We would have loved to unpack issues such as the deployment strategy, not necessarily policy, to understand how certain things were done, who took decisions, what were the outcomes of those decisions, and by and large, what were the consequences. It's much the same in this instance. We are not privy to all those facts and categories of facts which would then allow us to make an informed political analysis and perhaps prediction of what's likely to happen in the next 40 days or so.
Well, Professor Barry Hanyane, Advocate Romeo Nthambeleni, I think I've changed my mind twice on what I think about this during this conversation. So thank you very much indeed. Very valuable, adding a lot to it. Well, when